Is it time for a workplace revolution? We have been exploring the idea of trust in the last 4 episodes with our Trust mini series with our special guest, Sarah Gagno, who was with us through the whole month of August as we explored the ideas of trust. And I want to keep that trust train moving. As you heard from us, once you start to develop that trust, you've got to keep it going. And so today I want to talk about how you get to be that catalyst for change and continue to shift and grow and revolutionize your workplace culture so that it can be a place where you and others can thrive. Welcome back to the What If It Works podcast. I'm your host, Ann Vogt. This is episode 58, helping you start a revolution at work. If you have not checked out episodes 54, 55, 56, and 57, it is our trust mini series. And we tackled the issues of, do you have a trust issue? If you do have a trust issue, were you the one betrayed? How can you go about confidently addressing that break in trust and setting yourself up for success moving forward with an individual, with a team, with your boss, etc.? If you were the betrayer, what can you do to quickly remedy that and move yourself and the individual that you broke trust with forward and create momentum with that individual? And lastly, episode 57 wrapped up with ways to quickly and over the long term grow trust with your individuals. And so if you've gotten through that and you're starting to take action, I wanted to help you wrap all that together and really create a revolution at work. I have had so many people who have reached out to me during that trust series specifically who said, Ann, this is really great, except the trust is so far broken, there's nothing I can do. Or in past episodes, I've had people reach out who was like, oh, this gave me a little bit of hope for myself, but there is no way I can change the dynamic of my office or of my company. And I'm here to tell you that yes, you can. There is a way for you to focus on your actions and start a workplace revolution. It is not going to be quick. It is not going to be easy, but it is going to be possible. And so let's get into it today. What do we want and how can we grow that around us so that we can truly go to work, feel productive, feel purposeful, feel passionate, and feel connected with other individuals and lead in a way that they want to do the same for themselves. Here we go. First up, what is a revolution? A revolution is a radical or complete change. And now some of you have an office dynamic. You just need to shift one piece of it. Or maybe you just need to shift one department that kind of drags everybody down. And then there are some of you that are like, Ann, I'm only staying for the money, but this place is draining me and there's nothing I can do about it. This episode is for you. I'm here to tell you in any situation in your life, there is something you can do. Now, the fix may not be fast. The fix may not be easy, but I am telling you that when we get consistent in our own actions, it propels other people to react and then act in a similar fashion going forward. So there absolutely is a way for you to start a revolution, whether you are the leader or you are the bottom person on the totem pole. There is a way for you to take action, but it starts with knowing where you're even going. So in every revolution in history, there was a new way of thinking and a new idea developed. And then people had to come together and be passionate about that idea and figure what actions they were going to take to move that idea forward. So for example, with the American Revolution, yes, that's right, previous social studies teacher here, people wanted to think about them being an independent nation. And it might have started with a few individuals saying, man, what if we didn't have to pay British taxes? What if, right? And it started with a couple questions and that grew and people became very passionate about the change in power. And so they had to first share their vision, get other people bought into that vision, and then they needed to take action to see a new result, which we call the United States of America today. And so for you, I need you thinking, what is the new vision. If 6 months from now, you could walk into work with a smile on your face, feeling less stressed, more excited to connect and engage with either your coworkers or your customers, what does that look and feel like, right? So I want you to take a few minutes and write down some ideas. What does your new dream culture 6 months from now look like? What does it sound like? What does it feel like? And really take a deep dive into that. Like, give yourself 10 minutes, set a timer and do a full 10 minutes where the only thing you're focusing on is what you want to see, what you want to feel, what you want to hear when you are at work. After that exercise, I want you to think of only yourself. We cannot control other people's behaviors. We cannot just go out to them and say, hey, here's a new plan. Here's my new revolution. Here's what we're going to do moving forward. Trust me, they're not going to get behind it because they're not passionate and they're not bought in yet. And so what we can do at the beginning is control our own actions. And so take a look at the list you gave yourself, what you want to see, what you want to hear, what you want to feel at work. And now in the next column over, what can you do about it? What are the actions you can take? Now, a lot of you know, you've heard me speak. My keynote speech is called Captain Your Culture because it's all about us being the captain and taking the actions to build the culture we want. And usually when we get super clear on what we want and we start taking actions that match that end result, other people come alongside us because they can see you walking in with less stress. They can see you walking in and clearly communicating with other people. They can see you showing up with a smile on your face, and that inspires them to say, what is she doing differently? And they start to evaluate themselves and the actions they are taking in connection to you. And so this is why it is so important for you to make that list on what actions can you take to build that end result of what you want to see, what you want to feel, and what you want to hear. Now, after you get that done, and you're going to look through that list, I want you to make note to yourself, what are some things on that list that you can do on a daily basis? Is that greeting everybody when you walk in? Is that thanking everybody at every meeting that you have when you get into a meeting room? Thank you for your time today. I know your time is valuable because you want other people valuing your time, right? So we need to be pointing out to other people when they value our time so that they give us that back. Today in my coaching group, we talked all about what to appreciate so that you see more of it, right? What you appreciate, you will see more of. One of my favorite things that I preach in my impact presentations. And so what do you want to see more of? Make sure you are appreciating that. And what can you be doing daily to show people what they're doing fits your dream culture? Then take a look at that list. And I want you to put, maybe the letter D next to the things you can do daily and maybe W next to the things you can do weekly. And now you can't just write it down. You can't just say weekly, I'm going to check in with each of my people. You need to then go put it in your calendar. When are you checking in with each individual? Are you going to dedicate a day, a morning, a full 4 hours on Wednesday morning to go around and check in with each of your people? Or are you someone who wants to check in with these 2 on Monday and these 2 on Tuesday, these 2 on Wednesday, these 4 on Thursday, and this 1 on Friday, right? Whatever it is, get out your calendar. Put their names in on the day that you're going to check in with them. If that's what you say you're going to do weekly, maybe weekly, you're going to give an overview email of the previous week, what people did really, really well and what you're looking for this week. And you're going to send that out on Mondays. Great. Schedule that in right now on your calendar. Put it in that 8 a.m. Monday morning. You're going to write that week before email, right? Sharing about the positives from the week before and what you're looking at the week coming up. What is it that you're going to do weekly to build this dream culture? And like I told you, if this is going to take us 6 months, that's 24 weeks. Think of the consistency that comes with 24 weeks of these actions. Now, what are those things you're going to do monthly? Maybe it's the same thing as that weekly idea, but you do it monthly. At the end of the month, you're going to say, hey, this last month, here were our numbers. Here was our productivity. Here's what I'm hoping we can accomplish in the next month. Or these are some things I saw that really made a huge difference in our quota for the month of August. Here's what I'd love to see in the next month. So go ahead and plug those in. You are not going to remember on October 1st to do this task just because it's October 1st. And so you need to go into your calendar and you need to schedule this stuff in so that you can be reminded that, hey, this is what your dream culture was going to entail. And this is an action you can take to make you see that dream culture and make that dream culture a reality. So, first and foremost, get super clear on what you want and what you can do about it. And then schedule it in. Make sure you know what actions you're going to commit to, because it's one thing to sit down today and take 10 minutes and make the list. You're not going to remember it. A week from now, you're not going to say, oh, yeah, I remember number 8 on that list was this. Unless you like staple it up on your wall, right? And have it somewhere you can see where you're going to look over and take action. Amazing. My brain works so quickly. Yes, I may have a little bit of adult ADHD. I'm not going to remember that list. And so I have to schedule it in. I have to write it down and I have to make it important because I want this as a priority. But sometimes in the stressful moments of the week or the day, I'm not going to remember to make that a priority. And so you need to be intentional and schedule this in. All right. You've got the idea. You've started to take the action. Now, how are we going to see that new result? Number 1, you are going to notice the small changes. Any little shift that starts to occur, you are going to notice it. You are going to point it out. You are going to appreciate it. Again, if you want to see more of those actions, you've got to make sure people understood that that action they took matches your dream culture. And no, you're not going to say, oh, I'm so glad that everyone was on time to this meeting. Part of my dream culture is that everyone is always on time. You're not going to say it like that. You're simply going to say, it is 8:00. Everyone is here. Everyone is ready. And I am pumped to get this meeting started. You're pointing out those little things so that people can realize they are important to you and they fit the culture that you want to start to create. Notice those little things. Notice that when you say good morning to Jessica as you walk in, you are then noting later, I love when I walk in and I say good morning to you, you always respond. It just makes me feel so valued when I walk in the door. Let this individual know that you appreciate that, because the next person who walks in the door, they're going to go, I wonder if they would appreciate that. I wonder if this is something other people might appreciate just like Anne does. And so this is how we spread it beyond ourselves and our own interpersonal relationships, but it spreads bigger by them understanding what it meant to you and how that really made you feel, and that's how other people can feel as well. So make sure you are noticing the changes. You are noticing the small stuff. All right. Now, I did just make a mention of like sharing your vision, and I do want you to do that. I want you to do it in a really tactful way, because I have had new principals come in. So I think in my time, I had 4 different principals in my time in the classroom. And there would be a day where a new principal would come in and say, okay, I've watched and I've waited for long enough. Here are all the changes I'm going to make. And it made us feel really small, like the work that we were already doing was not valued, and that we didn't already have a thriving culture around us, and that this individual just wanted to make it a little bit better. Instead, it felt like we were doing things wrong, you're not doing things right, and now my way or the highway, or my way is the right way. And that's not how, as leaders, we want people to feel. We want people to feel like they are a part of this vision that is being created, and they are a part of this new thriving culture. And so here's what I want to share with you. Bring people on board by sharing a piece of your vision and then letting them fill in how they are a player in that. I want you to bring people on board with your vision, saying something like, hey, I've recognized that when I collaborate with each of you on projects, your strengths come through, and our collaboration allows us to create something bigger and better. So you are going to notice that I am going to seek individuals out based on their skills so that we can collaborate and really create these dynamite projects. So what you're saying to the team is you are going to start doing this. You are not going to tell them, and I think you should all start doing that at the same time. They're going to start to feel that when you go around and work with each of them on those big projects. And then the goal would be that they see how that feels, and that they go in turn reach out to another person to collaborate on another project. If people don't know how this feels, they're not going to seek it out on their own. This is why I always say when I'm presenting that I'm going to make you feel in this room like we've created a thriving culture, which is why I use a lot of my strategies while I present. I am giving out appreciation throughout the entire thing. I am giving out clear expectations to everyone. I am problem solving in the room with everyone so they can really feel what it feels like to move through a problem quickly. They can feel how it feels to receive clear communication on an expectation. They can feel appreciation. And then at the end, we talk about how to utilize that in their own work environments to feel the same way they felt in this last hour and a half or 2 hours. And that's what I'd love for you to do. Share your vision in a way of, here's an action I'm going to start taking because this is the end result I'd love to see. And then just start taking that action. Because my guess is when you share the end result that you want to feel, they're in their head saying, I want that too. I want to be able to collaborate. I want to be able to set deadlines and meet them, right? And so you saying at the beginning of a meeting, hey, I'm going to get really, really specific on deadlines because I've recognized that when I hit a deadline, I feel really good about it. And I know that it's going on to the next project manager in a timely fashion, which makes them feel really good. So if you notice me asking you for specific deadlines, that's because I'm trying to work on that myself. So you're bringing in, this is what I'm doing because I can only control me, but I'm sharing it with you so that if you want that same thing, here's an action you can take. So we're really trying to grow this idea of a culture with our teammates where everyone is a part of an organization and a part of the team and that their actions matter. And so that is how you are going to start getting them in, bringing them on board. It's by you sharing what you're going to change, and you're going to stay consistent so that you can see and feel this shift. And maybe even point it out 3 months in, say, man, I just love where we've come in the last 3 months. 3 months ago, I put it on my calendar that I was going to make sure that I had agendas for these meetings, that we stayed on task and that we stayed on time so that we could feel super productive in this 1 hour meeting. And I just want to say, I'm feeling really great about that right now. We were just able to get through our entire agenda, really get into the nitty gritty that we needed to. And we're getting out of here right at 9, which makes me feel really good. I hope that that has benefited you as well. And you move on. But you point it out as we have these little things happen because you got them on board. Now make sure that they are excited to be on board. A culture shift or a culture revolution is a long game. And in order to really create change, we just have to put it into our minds that it's going to take time. We know that as people want to lose weight, it's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen after 1 week of watching what you eat and exercising. It is a long game. And in order to get those very new results that you haven't seen before, you have to do things you've never done before. And so make sure you are ready to play the long game. What does that look like? It looks like being super consistent for an extended amount of time. You are telling yourself right now, it is the beginning of September. If you are listening to this live, from now through Christmas, these are tasks I'm going to do each week. And I'm not going to deviate from that, because what I want to see in the end for January of 2025 is XYZ, whatever that is. And so get consistent. I recently was coaching a woman who said she's having a hard time getting her managers to have their weekly meetings with their teammates. And I said, well, what's the expectation? She said, I've been very clear, Anne. This is the expectation, and here's why it will help her in this situation. And I said, okay, what else could be going on? And, we kind of got around to it. And I said, well, how often do you have meetings with her? And she's like, well, I only have meetings if we need them. And I was like, ooh. So you only have meetings with her. You're her direct supervisor. You only have meetings with her when it's needed. Yet she's supposed to have meetings with her directs every single week. So if I were you, I would control what you can control and have a meeting with her every single week or every other week or once a month, and say things like, hey, I know that we have said in the past that we were only going to meet when we needed it, but I think getting consistent, I can help you and support you in your role by meeting with you more often. And so she started to set that with her direct. And then she would ask in those meetings, how are things going with your directs? And she would say things like, well, I only meet with them when we need to. And so after a couple weeks of her meeting with this one direct, she was able to say, man, in the last 4 times we've met, we have accomplished so much. I feel like I understand what you need. I've been able to help you. We've been able to have open communication. You've been able to give me some feedback. And this has been really, really great. I wonder if this is what your team needs. The direct to her said, this has been really great. I feel like I've got clarity. I've got momentum. I'm able to do more things and not do them for as long because I know exactly what needs to get done. And so when she brought that up about what if you did this with your directs, she's like, I think my directs would love this. I just need to share it in a different way. And then she started having her weekly meetings. And so sometimes we can say, oh, Anne, it's not me, it's them. But we can't control them. What we can control is ourselves. And so if you want to see change, sometimes you've got to control what you are saying and how you are acting and what you are doing to create the narrative that you say you want to see, right? And so let's make sure we're doing that. My last tip for you, if you've ever heard the plane analogy, right? So for every 1 degree that you are off, if you are flying a plane, for every 60 miles, you are 1 mile off. And so imagine you're trying to get to Hawaii, and right off the bat, as you are leaving LA, you are 1 degree off. Well, in the end, you're going to end up way off course and in the middle of the ocean. And so that is what I want you to think about. If you are on your way to creating this culture that you say you want, you're on your way to create this revolution, you're going to have to readjust the plane every so often. And so make sure that you are taking account of the actions you are taking and the results you are getting. But then when you're not getting the results that you want after an extended amount of time, you got to readjust what you're doing. And so that could come from, again, you noticing those little changes and pointing them out. It could come from you sharing your vision, sharing where you started going, maybe celebrating when you made a little adjustment and it worked, right? And pointing that out. But remembering that it's going to take time to get to your destination. And you, as the captain of your culture, are in control of that plane. You're in control of the actions that you can take. And I know, because I have worked with coaching clients, that after they really buckle down and they commit to that culture that they want to see and they commit to the actions they can take, they start to see that shift sooner than they even think is possible, because they go all in and they stay consistent. And I know that you can do that. And if you're listening to this right now and you're like, Anne, I don't know if I can do that. I have a struggle with being accountable for my actions. I struggle with staying consistent. I've got good news for you. We are opening back up the Lead with Impact cohort this fall. And so this is an opportunity for you to come each week, learn some strategies from the impact model, and then take those actions, be held accountable through group coaching or one-on-one coaching. That's right. There's going to be options this fall for you. In the past, we've only always done group coaching, and this time there's going to be an option for doing one-on-one, because I know there are a few of you out there, you just want to get to the nitty gritty with your own situation. And so there is going to be availability this fall, starting in October, where you can get the coursework of the impact method, but then also have that group coaching and that accountability so that you can see the results by the end of the cohort, which is 5 weeks long. As I said, we're going to get started in October. The details are not all ironed out yet, but what I do have for you is a way for you to be the first to know. So you are going to want to go to annvote.com/first to know. That's ANNVOTE.com and / then the words first, FIRST, to TO, no, KNOW. Go to first to know. You're going to put your information in there. What that is going to get you is first to know information. You are going to get a separate email from my whole newsletter community that says, here is the plans, here's what you have to choose from, and you are going to be able to get that. You are also going to have a day one discount. So I've never done this before, but I think this will be really fun for those of you who want the information, you're ready to go. I want you to be able to get in on the best price available. And so there is going to be a day one deal that you are going to be able to get into, but only if you're on the first to know list. So head on over to annvote.com/first to know, and you will be the first to know any of my new offers coming up in the next few months, but especially the Lead with Impact cohort. In the past, the Lead with Impact cohort had people who came each week. They were able to learn new skills, apply those new skills, then get coached on those new skills, and then report back the following week so that they could grow exponentially in those few weeks, because they were able to gain the knowledge, apply the knowledge, get feedback on that, readjust that plane so that they could get to their destination even faster. So I'm so excited that that is coming back this fall and that you have the availability to be in the cohort. So go ahead and get on that first to know list. Otherwise, you'll be finding out like the rest of the crew later on in the month of September. I just want to remind you, what if it works? What if you set your mind on a completely different culture? You create this culture revolution and you decide these are the actions I'm going to take and these are the results I want to see. And you see them even before Christmas rolls around. What if it works? It is not only going to benefit you and change the culture that you walk into every day, it is going to benefit those around you. And as I've shared before, a lot of my coaching clients have said it impacted their spouses. The work we did at work, the coaching we did for work, positively impacted their spouses and their families. And so what if it works? You start this revolution and it trickles into other areas of your life. As I have said before, we are here in this community to create change, and you have the opportunity to do that each and every day. And I just thank you for listening, getting fueled up, but going out there and taking the actions. As you heard in this episode, I am a motivational speaker and a culture coach. I am here to help you create change within your workplace environments. All of my presentations are customized to meet your company, your organization, or your school's needs. The way it works is we connect, we find out what kind of presentation you want to have delivered to your people, and I learn a little bit about the challenges that you're having in your culture and the dream vision that you want to create. Then through my presentation, I make sure to gain buy-in from your employees that that is what is going to make them most productive, effective, efficient, and happy at work. Reach out to me, head on over to my website, annvote.com. You can go ahead and book a presentation there or connect with me to see if I would be a good fit for your next conference or workshop or in-house training. Always here to help.